That foreign show. We'll be seeing you on that foreign show. We'll be seeing you. We'll be seeing you every Friday here at TFS. That foreign show. We'll be seeing you on that foreign show. We'll be seeing you. We'll be seeing you every Friday here at TFS. That foreign show. We'll be seeing you on that foreign show. We'll be seeing you. We'll be seeing you every Friday here at TFS. That foreign show. We'll be seeing you on that foreign show. We'll be seeing you. We'll be seeing you every Friday here at TFS. That foreign show. We'll be seeing you on that foreign show. We'll be seeing you. We'll be seeing you every Friday here at TFS. That foreign show. We'll be seeing you on that foreign show. We'll be seeing.
Entrando por tus oídos hasta llegar al centro de tus emociones, ADR Networks está en este momento
activando tus sentidos.
ADR Networks presenta.
This is Celestine Angel.
And I'm Isaac Crouch.
And this is...
On that foreign show.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
I'm Celestine Angel.
And I'm Isaac Rakesh.
Welcome here to That Foreign Show on ADR Networks.
Yeah. I'm going to wait for the applause to die down before I hit you with the activating your senses.
Oh, yeah.
We got a great show today, right?
Yep, we have Lily Foster who's going to talk to us about something very interesting. I mean, it's completely new for me. So I was just like absorbing all the information she was giving. I think it's something to share, you know, like for everyone to know. And also it seems to be very suitable for the foreign community here to like know about.
Yes, I mean, look, listening to her talk about it, you guys are going to hear about it. And also looking at the stuff that they're doing, not just the foreign community, right? It's like, the way I see it, it's like humanity.
It's everyone, yeah, it's everyone.
Right? It's everybody.
I think the specific thing for the foreign community will be that she is she wants to make this make the foreign companies here more aware of this project that she has.
Right.
So later on, we are is going to be our first Zoom or sorry StreamYard show
Yeah.
with her. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Right now, we just want to ask you to like follow us on that foreign show Instagram if you haven't yet already. The tag is just that foreign show. So and we want to do a special shout out today to all the people that have been supporting this new show so far. It's like the only English program on ADR networks, I think.
Yes. Yes. Very excited about that. And yeah, lately the people who've been following us, who've been coming on board and joining our family, we really want to thank you and want to give a shout out to all of you guys. Yeah, we got people like, first and foremost, shout out to Drew Styling. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, thank you, Drew. You have been so helpful. Like Drew has been like, always giving me like a lot of different information and like suggestions on who to invite on the show and stuff like that. Drew has been here for I think he was here for like a great many years, but then now he's back in the US actually.
Right.
He still has his charity project called Suit Up Mexico here.
Surat, Mexico.
But I think he's handling it like remotely and with his partners that are Mexican over here. And this is our Instagram page. Like we are going to update it to all the episodes that have been going on like soon. But right now, like what you see is actually just the first 3 or 4 episodes.
Yes.
And different things that happen, and yeah, and our dear late Isaac Crouch, we
Yes.
we see him here, and it's also a celebration of him, in
And yes, RIP to Isaac Crouch. And also, just to let you guys know, we're going to be having Arturo on the show at some point.
we are still waiting for Arturo. He has
he's-
a surgery, right?
Yes, he has surgery, knee surgery, I believe. And so he's kind of out resting. And
Once
and-
he's able to.
yeah, once he's able to, we're going to bring you here. We're going to talk about that, and talk about.
Yeah, we will do a special segment with him to like basically get to know Isaac Crouch more.
Yes. Commemorate and remember. Also want to do a shout out to Igor. You say you're watching today. Thank you, brother.
Oh yes, Igor said that he's friends with Lily Foster, so he's going to check out today's episode. And definitely, I would like to shout out to Rosa, who has been on nearly every show, which
Gracias,
we
Rosa.
really appreciate.
Thank you.
We really appreciate.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's good to have regular fans. Oh,
Thank you. All right, just going to run through a few names of these people who've been following us or joining the family, just to do a shout out. All right. Shout out to Natalia, Andrea, Alex. All right. Shout out to, of course, Barbie_NR. Right. Then we have Carita. And last but not least, Gloria. Thank you so much also for all your support. You've always been supporting us in everything. So thank you for that. And we've already I want to shout out Chris as well. Chris, what
Yes.
it do? What it do, brother? What it do?
and and Eric as well. Like, thank you all for watching. Honestly, this show is also for, like, it's not just for foreigners. We have to state here. This show is actually for foreigners and English speaking Mexicans or people who want to or Mexicans who want to improve their English.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And also we are also addressing the Mexicans who have lived overseas and have returned and maybe are still like trying to find their footing, back since they have lived overseas for too long. And so we are all a great community here, and it's an inclusive community. So like whoever that wants to like learn more about all things international and all that, like everyone's welcome.
Everyone's welcome. And don't be foreign. To quote one of our guests, shout out to Tony Brown.
All right, yeah, that's my favorite part of Tony's.
Right?
Like, yeah.
That's the best advice ever. We were like, what is your advice to foreigners here? And he's like, don't be foreign. That's perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that label separates you. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. But then our title is that foreign show, to keep it
Yes.
focused.
To keep it focused, to keep it on point.
Yeah.
And yes, that foreign show. Easy to remember. TFS, right here on ADR Networks.
So we're going to take a break now, and then we'll be back. We're going to set Lily Foster up with the StreamYard, and then we'll be back with her.
Before we go to the break, when we come back, drop us some comments. Let us know what you think. Let us know about our Instagram page. Is it cool? Is it whack? Can we improve it? How can we improve it? All this kind of stuff. We want to be in communication with you. And after we come back from the break, we're going to tell you guys about this really exciting thing that Phoenix Farms is doing with regards to regenerative farming and agriculture. Regenerative. It sounds exciting to me, and I hope it does sound exciting to you guys as well. All right, so let's take that break, and we'll be back with Lily Foster. Cheers.
We are going to a break, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
On the foreign show.
Hola, yo soy Liz Maguer y te invito a ver Todo a Color los miércoles a la 1 de la tarde, un programa de salud, belleza, transformación y muchos otros temas por ADR Networks, activando tus sentidos.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Yo soy Carlos.
Yo soy Ryan.
Y nosotros somos los Chulos Calderón. Y no te puedes perder el mejor programa de ADR que es
¿Qué es Chulo Show?
Todos los martes de 9 a 10 de la noche, totalmente en vivo.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Te saluda Alberto Lascano
Y Sofía da Costa.
y te invitamos a que nos acompañes a platicar sobre las películas más importantes del mundo del cine.
Todos los sábados a las 11 de la mañana en nuestro programa Tickets for Two.
Solo por ADR Networks, activando tus sentidos.
Hola, yo soy Fanny Franco y te invito a que me acompañes junto con Isis Vázquez todos los viernes a las 4 de la tarde en Sí Salud Radio, donde platicaremos y tocaremos temas de bienestar, salud mental y salud física. Aquí en ADR Networks, activando tus sentidos y tus emociones.
Hey guys, we're back at TFS. Thank you for staying with us.
On the foreign show.
On this floor. Okay. Hey, we are back on that foreign show, ADR Networks. I'm Celestine Angel, and
I'm Isaac Rakesh.
so we have Lily Foster with us on StreamYard right now.
Hello.
Hi, Lily. Oh,
Hello.
we can't hear you. I think you are on mute. Right.
How about now? Hi guys,
how
you doing?
We are very good.
Okay, let me just
Very,
increase
very
your volume a little.
Can you hear us fine?
Yeah, I can hear you guys fine. This is the first time we've used this platform, so great to be here. And yeah, really interesting show that you guys have. I love the idea of, creating this digital space that people can connect as part of the global community, whether they're from, originally from Mexico or from somewhere else. Mexico as a country and Mexico City has always been a cosmopolitan place where a lot of different cultures and a lot of different people come together. So I think this is I see this as like a great platform for that community to see what each other are doing and to share what we're doing from our end. So it's a pleasure to be here today with you guys.
Oh, pleasure's ours. Pleasure's
Yeah.
ours.
Thank you for joining us. And yeah, that's what we're trying to do, like to build the community and connect everyone to help out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, you look great.
Yeah.
Well, we just got down. We just got down from the roof where it was super hot, so we have that glow of
The glow.
the afternoon sun right before the rain. But yeah, I'm so happy we could connect. And there's so much happening right now with with agriculture, and also with just different people coming through both the city and the countryside. Mexico has really become this sort of central place globally for looking at climate change, looking at reforestation, looking at agroforestry. There's a lot of innovation that's happening right now, and there's a lot of also like some really old problematic dynamics that continue as well. So we'll talk about the whole, I think, focus on what's happening in terms of projects, in terms of different individuals, and the opportunities we're gonna have to get involved.
Let's cover everything. We've allocated the whole show for you, actually.
Awesome, cool.
We got time. So let's start with what is Phoenix Farms about? Like zero from zero. Like what is it about?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So so Phoenix Farms, we're a consulting firm. We're based here in Mexico City. And we design and establish all different types of agricultural projects that are based in regenerative agriculture. So regenerative agriculture, whether we're in the city or we're in the countryside, what we deal with, or what we're looking at, is how can we develop agricultural systems that both reestablish the ecology and produce food. So it's looking at agriculture not only as a way to develop, to produce food, but also to create habitat, to be looking at, the water cycle, looking at the energy cycle, and hold on one sec.
Sure.
Sorry, we had someone that was doing something here. So we're looking at agriculture not only as a way to produce food, but also as a way in which we can be producing local commerce, that we can be generating these new forests in which we have both species that are for consumption and species that are for producing also local value added chains. So it depends on the project that we're working on. We work a lot with the sector of living building, so both land development and different vivienda. So we're looking at everything from different communities that are, there's, after pandemic, a lot of people were just re-questioning, what should community look like? What should living structures look like? What kind of communities do we want to build? And so there's been a huge outpouring of, people that are moving from the city to the countryside and establishing either like 3 or 4 family homes, or there's some that are even, larger, more ambitious developments that have, 10, 12 houses on property. So it goes the whole range from family farms to bigger housing development.
Are these traditionally people who come from farming families, or
So no, it's not. It's now this is, so we've been working a lot with the development market. So in Spanish, they're constructores, desarrolladores. So they're developers. So we're working directly with the market and developers that maybe usually work on hotels, housing complexes. Yeah. And so we always work. Yeah. So we work with local, of course, like agriculturalists, and we always are looking at like who are, local, whether it's, local knowledge keepers or local seed savers or farmers, or, there's really a whole range, greenhouses. So definitely every project seeks to support whatever the local economy, and work with local providers. Mm-hmm.
And then in regards to like foreign companies, because I remember when we were chatting over the phone, then you mentioned that like this could be suggested to propose to foreign companies. Like, so how does that work? Like for them?
Yeah, totally. So like if you're working for an international corporation, for example, that is based here in Mexico City, how can you get involved? Like there's awesome opportunities to both do social projects, that you can, like your company could fund a community garden or fund a project either in the city or in the community that you work with. And also there's an opportunity, I think, to develop, like, larger companies to invest in infrastructure, no? For larger companies to really make an investment in, for example, seed saving networks, or make an investment in prototyping, innovative crop models. So there's a huge role for companies to play, whether it's a small company, like we've done some really cool stuff with other small companies, with other pymes, as they're called,
Right.
pequeña y mediana empresas.
Okay. Small to
Your
medium
Spanish is fantastic.
Yeah. Small, medium enterprises, right? I think.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
wow, there's so many interesting things I want to ask you about. Okay, so just off of the top of my head, because you mentioned developers, and just off of the top of my head, it's like the closest thing that I've ever come across are some buildings, like in Singapore. They have some of these buildings built by these developers. I'm not sure where these developers are from, but basically what they've done is turn some of the walls, the vertical walls, a lot of the vertical real estate, into hanging gardens kind of thing. So it's like when the building is first sold, obviously the plant, you don't see much of the plants, you just see the beginning stages and stuff. But the idea is like in 5 to 10 years and stuff, or maybe even 15 years time, you're going to see the plants taking over a huge part of the structure, and that, I mean, it's like, without getting much into it's just exciting. Like when you look at it, it looks beautiful, firstly, and then it's like completely something that makes you feel like every developer should have done something like that. Like, wow, I mean, like, it's just like,
it just makes everywhere more green,
more beautiful, and just amazing, Like you mentioned this other point I want to ask you about. Sorry, regenerative. You mentioned regenerative agriculture. So you're trying to return the soil and like to its original state and more, right? Am I right?
Something like exactly. Like, so the idea of regeneration isn't necessarily going backwards. It's about inventing the future, but looking at, like, what are the genetic roots and the ecological roots of place, because there's plants like, and this would be great if you guys could stop on this photo here. The one right before that, is those are quelites, the one that's right before this.
Okay.
The one before.
Okay.
All right. So we give it a minute.
We're getting that done, but these
coming up.
So I mean, like, I was researching like about regenerative farming, and like I saw that like there's a collective of like Mexico is involved, and Japan, and like a few more countries, and I thought it's really progressive of Mexico, because like really the rest of the countries, they're all first world countries, and Mexico is developing. So but Mexico is, I think, quite forward with a lot of these like progressive ideas. Like they are doing recycling, like completely like Japan,
right.
And then with the farming as well, they are involved with this, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very
and when
cool.
you say, are you talking like at a government level, or like at because the article that you were reading, what kind of actor was it talking about, like at the government level or at the farm level?
I only saw that like there is like a collective where they have all made an agreement to do this regenerative agriculture.
Yeah, so like a coalition of different actors. That's even better. That is like both farmers and industry, and I mean, Mexico is one of the epicenters and birthplaces of agriculture in all of the Americas. No, so it's I think, and it's also one of the regions that has most been impacted by the green revolution, by industrial agriculture. I mean, all the drought that's happening in the north right now is directly linked to the soil, water, and resource management that is implied in industrial agriculture, which has just been extractive. So going back to what we're talking about, regenerative is a cycle. It's one of the most important concepts of the agriculture, that is constantly cycling. It's not just that
Right. We lost the audio for
connection.
a sec.
Yeah.
But wow, so many interesting things that you're talking about, Lily.
Right. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
also want to ask her, like, I don't know if she can hear us right now, but I also want to ask, because like I was researching, and
Uh-huh.
then they were explaining that regenerative agriculture is supposed to help reverse climate change. So I want to understand what that means. Like, I would like Lily to educate me on that. Yeah.
Yes, and also you
Are we
mentioned
back?
that. Yeah, I think we're back. I can hear
Oh,
you now.
cool.
Cool.
Did you hear us just now? Like,
I totally heard you guys, and what I was saying was that one of the big concepts to understand regenerative agriculture is that it's a cycle, no? So you're constantly creating these systems that feed themselves and generate their own resource, and that goes back into the system. So what you're asking about in terms of climate change is another pillar of regenerative agriculture, which is our relationship to carbon, right? And looking at how can we grow a food system that not only produces high quality products that we can eat and we can live on, and also for the soil, but how do we capture carbon? So one of the big things is perennial plants. So a lot of the food that we eat today, like if you just go out to any restaurant or most of us have the habit of eating a lot of annual vegetables, right? So we eat like, lettuce, tomato, squash, like all these things that are very short term, and they're in the ground for a few months, and then they get taken out and something else gets put in. And so what regenerative agriculture, one of the big focuses is having more crops that live for longer. So more trees, for example, and really have this forest structure that it's constantly, they're plants that are, a lot of them, some of them can live for 2, 3, 5, 10, 15, even, tens, hundreds. There's trees that live for hundreds of years, no? And the difference in, nut trees, fruit trees, of having that incorporated in the system is we capture so much more carbon, and we have so much more root structure in the soil, which you can imagine the roots of the plants as like they hold both the microbiotic life together, and they also, it's really like a series of channels below water that below the soil that retain soil moisture. So it's really exciting to see all of that science that's happening, and also above ground, basically it's a forest,
Wow.
Right.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining us in this moment, we are talking to Lily Foster from Phoenix Farms, talking about regenerative agriculture, which is what Phoenix Farms is involved in. Very, very, very interesting stuff we're talking about. And Lily, I want to ask you about this. On one of your slides, you have this diagram of plant drawings with the length of their roots, right? Like, and that's kind of what you're talking about, right? Like with
Exactly.
mhm. So finding the right you said perennial plants, so plants that have native, right? Like they're supposed to be there, kind of thing.
Also, like, and yeah, the native. So the perennial just means that they're plants that live for several years, right? So you have the annual plants that just have this really short cycle. And how I like to explain is to think of the future of agriculture as a forest, no? So I think as long as we stay in the analogy of imagining a forest instead of imagining like fields full of just lettuce or tomatoes, that's our system today, right? Like if you guys have gone up to areas where there's a lot of farming, you just see these fields that are full of one monocrop.
Yes, uniform fields, right? Everything laid out perfectly.
Yeah.
So when you're saying forest, like as in, like, are you saying that being the base first, so that like we have
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'd love for you guys to come and see the garden as well. Like we have some photos, but it's the best is obviously to see it in person. But like right, like you can imagine. So like in the for sure.
Yeah,
like I mean, for us it's very interesting because like I think we told you over the phone that like we are more into herbal like stuff instead of Western medicine. Like we're more into Chinese medicine, which is herbal. So I find it very interesting that like you mentioned like that the thing that you're doing includes herbal
Yeah.
medicine. Hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's one of the things that you can really, produce in the city. What kind of have you explored the different plants that are here in Mexico? Like what have you tried growing or tried
No.
working with?
Like I don't know anything here. Like, I mean, generally back in Singapore, when when I need something, like if I have a cold or whatever, I'll just go down to the medical hall, like because there are so many, and I'll just grab one of the drinks from the fridge, like the herbal tea,
Chinese
or
medical hall, right?
yeah,
Like,
or sometimes if like they'll prescribe something like and then I'll just again boil it and make it into a tea. So I have
Nice.
not, like, I don't know anything here, like, yeah.
Oh, there's such a wealth of knowledge. Like, I mean, Chapingo has a lot of stuff. I think they still have stuff online, but you should go visit the Chapingo
Chapingo?
Medicine Center. So the Universidad de Chapingo is
oh,
the largest agriculture university in Mexico, and they're located in Texcoco. But they used to have a few like spots here in Mexico City that were like tiendas herbalistas.
Ah,
And they have a really extensive catalog of both like different plants, and also they make like the tinturas and like, I've never seen it that they have like the teas ready. I love that idea. That sounds super
uh-huh.
cool.
okay.
What you're saying about the stores in Singapore, that's
Yep.
a great that's a great idea.
Hot and cold ones, like in the
Cool.
fridges
Yeah.
in the medical hall, and then you can just like they even tell you like this is for this is for this, and then you just grab it.
Yeah, it's pretty
I love that idea. That's so cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and definitely, obviously, like in the garden, we have a bunch of stuff, and you'll have to come by someday and see. But there's everything from Mexico has as a region, has a pre like a pre definitely pre-Hispanic history of herbolaria and of medicinal herbs and of the codice. You can see them in the codices as well. There's a very famous codice in Malinalco that it's painted on the walls of the church, the different plants and what they're used for. So definitely check that out too.
Wow. You mean like,
Um,
is that like an ancient kind of thing? I mean,
yeah,
oh,
it's a beautiful story of Malinalco. Has always been a center for, it was the Aguila warriors spiritual retreat center. So there were in the Mexica Empire, there were the Aguila warriors and the Puma warriors, and the Aguila warriors had their like retreat spiritual training center in Malinalco. Which if you go on the weekend, there's a guy that he just is a local that gives really cool speech about the whole history of the place in Malinalco. And in the convent of Malinalco, there's this beautiful story of the indigenous women that have been practicing herbal medicine for hundreds, if not thousands of years, did a cross-pollination of information with the nuns that came as part of the Catholic Church invasion and basically usurpation of power. But there's this beautiful story that the women, through their shared interest for herbal medicine, were able to, the nuns basically commissioned the entire inside of the cathedral to be painted with the codice, which is I don't know what the translation for codice would be, but it's like it's the book of codes, I guess. So there's these really cool paintings that have like the names, the uses. So definitely check that out as well. That's a really, really special center. And there's a modern day library and museum there as well that has like different plants. So that's one place, but also Tepoztlan, so many places. Basically anywhere you go, people have in the Sierra, like there's always señoras guardiantes.
right.
Yeah, it's really nice to know this, because like I'm completely ignorant about the fact that Mexico has a whole herbal resource as well. Like I just thought just Asia would have it. Yeah.
we talked about Dr. Sebi on one of the episodes with
I think
Chris.
with Chris.
Yeah, and he mentioned how actually, although he's from Honduras or El Salvador, I'm sorry, don't quote me. he actually got the wealth of his knowledge from Mexico. Like he came to Mexico and
Oh yeah,
he got his
yeah, and
his,
he's from Honduras, if I'm not wrong.
Honduras, right?
Yeah, and you know Dr. Sebi? Have you
No,
heard
I
of
don't. I'll look up Dr. Sai. It sounds like he's doing some. What kind of work is?
Basically, like there is some controversy about him that he's not a real doctor, but he has through like a change of diet and plants and everything, he has like evidentially cured cancer, like different like
but like documented,
incurabilities.
like really documented, like court cases where
Yeah,
he had
actually.
to produce proof in court, like showing the patients and backing up his claim. Like
And the thing that Isaac is talking about is basically that he he actually came to Mexico and he got quite a lot of the approved foods that he's telling people to eat. They are from Mexico, actually.
But I also get the sense when I watched the video that he came to Mexico also to kind of get like the knowledge, like almost kind of like what you're saying. He probably immersed himself in communities where they do this kind of thing with herbal medicine and
right. And on that note, like I would really like to ask you, like, how do you even start doing this? Like what, like, like what was your background and your interest, like that it came to this, like now you are, I think, pioneering this, maybe. Are you?
But I was gonna try and stay away from the word pioneer in general, because I think it's just I mean, really it's a question of recontextualizing things for our time, right? These things that we're talking about, like agriculture, medicine, habitat, ecology, like these are things that human beings have been thinking about for thousands of years. And I think when we come into a place, it's really important to see what has been there before and to honor and value what has been there before. And especially as like, newcomers, to really look and see, like I would say, who's ever interested in these topics, like ask and take it upon yourself to find out, like, where are there, like who's growing what, where, like this, I love this idea that you bring up of like the community medical centers, are there community medical centers? Are there herbolistas? Or whatever it is that we're doing, to always like reach out and see like, well, who's doing this here already? And I came to Mexico City first in 2006 for a project with the University of Berkeley, and that I had been given some fun. I had basically got some grant money to set up a demonstration center, and the idea was that it was going to be a hub for like everything that was happening in urban farming in Mexico City. Oh. And give classes and workshops and have work with facilitate, like whoever was already locally doing things, and set it up with an open source database. So we did that, but what became much more important than the open source database was the physical garden itself. So that project, it still exists. It's called Huerto Romita. And I had thought I was going to come and be in Mexico for maybe 3 years. And I formally trained as a systems theorist economist. And so I was on track to do my doctorate, and I was like taking a break between studies to come to Mexico and do this project. And it took off in a way that just felt so much more real to me.
Like
than,
yeah.
Yeah, much longer, which is a common story, I think. But yeah,
good, right? Like with what you're doing, like fulfilled and like happy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think a lot. It is very stressful and very like changing. I think to have a small company, like just from it's difficult to have a small company, and it's difficult to have a small company in a foreign country, and it's extremely difficult to have a small company in Mexico, just because you get. Basically, you pay an incredible amount of taxes and you get no support and no benefits.
So the taxes here, they are more than like in the US, because
yeah. How much is it in the unit? Like here, it's like if you go by the book, it's like 30-40%. So which is pretty similar to the States, right? The States is like
pretty similar. Yeah.
So it's a lot. Mm-hmm.
I mean, yes. I mean, hard to be a small business anywhere. But I think what is incredibly valuable and like the opportunity in Mexico, and in Mexico, specifically Mexico City, is that like while there is no support, there is, I think, a very dynamic market in terms of, being able to start up and do something,
Right.
because there is so much local artisanship, knowledge, and I think a real interest on the part of, other small businesses to invent new services and products. And you have a market of 23 million people that live in the city. So it's like whatever you want to do, like there are 23 million souls that live in this valley, and like, find out if they want what you've got, and there you go. You have like this very immediate production, distribution, consumption market, which is why as an economist originally I had wanted to work in Mexico City, because it has that beautiful overlap of amazing growing conditions, and also like this really interesting market dynamic. What has your guys' experience been with work or starting to work in Mexico City or in Mexico?
I mean, for us, like as musicians, like in the beginning, I really just thought that I was getting ripped off of just being a foreigner because of the pay difference. But then, like after a while, I realized, like the accommodation is cheaper, everything is cheaper, so I have to like balance that. Yeah, but because in Singapore, like as a musician, our economy is very good, so the entertainment industry is thriving, and there's a lot of work, and the pay is good. So like I mean, the idea was to come here to like just to be an artist, and to just experience things, like open our like minds, and like and feel. So like it's not really about like making money from the art as like maybe a cover singer. Like it's, I mean, of course we do want to make money from our art, but like but like if I'm just going to like the small pubs and all that, I'm not going to expect to get the same as Singapore. So yeah, it's definitely tougher doing the same thing that I was doing back in Singapore. Here it's not the same.
Not the same as like perfect, kind of really perfect for us, like where we are with our art and what we're trying to do.
Yeah,
I guess it's similar to you, right? Like your interest in economics is kind of also help you with Phoenix Farms and how you're structuring it and stuff, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think the economics has definitely taken a backstage to the agricultural part of it. But I think about this a lot sometimes. I'm like, man, if I haven't been thinking. I've been thinking about it a lot lately, I think is the way to say it. That I'm like, man, like the economy is so different in the States. Like the money I could have made in the States, I think without a doubt is like astronomically larger, that number amount. And but I think for me that was not, my motivation wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go to Mexico because I see an economic opportunity. I was more like, oh, I see there to be like
people. Let's cash in, right? Yeah,
no, I saw it much more as being about like having the opportunity to
change, right?
to create a different concept of business that was like very specific to the place. And I definitely think that there are people that are moving into Mexico that are coming for the economic opportunity. And I think again that's always important to balance out, like what does one seek to achieve in as immigrants, really, which we are. We're part of a huge global population of people that are
Oh, we lost you again.
Lost the audio. But yes, exactly. And can you hear us?
What do you?
Okay. Let me try. Yeah.
Oh, it's
went off again.
Buffering. It's buffering. But if you can.
I can.
Okay, it's being set up. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, if you are tuning in to the show, this is TFS, That Foreign Show on ADR Networks, and we are talking Lily Foster from Phoenix Farms, right? And if
Right.
you want to know what Phoenix Farms is about, just think about regenerative agriculture, all right? And it is so interesting. There's so many questions we wanna ask her,
And this is the Instagram page for Phoenix Farms.
yeah, that's Huerto Abierto.
Puerto Abierto is the name of
Yeah,
the
we're actually, so we're the open garden. It's an event that we were doing the last Saturday of every month, and we actually have a great event coming up the last Saturday of this month of August that we're going to do a pop-up. So we're going to have some really good food from the garden, music, and it's going to be like an afternoon in the garden. So it's on this beautiful roof in the Roma, where everyone's invited. It's going to be a very accessible cover charge, and it's a great time to meet other people, connect, and be outside in nature, in urban nature. So I would love for you guys to come to that.
Roma. So it's like very accessible. It's
Awesome.
urban farming and
Yeah, so I want to ask you a question. Earlier, you mentioned about Mexico being the leader in terms of agriculture, some aspects that you were talking about, like in the region that they are leader. And can you talk a bit about that, like for people who don't know, like I had no idea, that Mexico led in this aspect, I
mean, Mexico is a huge agricultural player on a global level.
Okay.
So that, like, when we're talking about industrial agriculture, Mexico produces mainly in the north tons of tomatoes, strawberries, lettuce, corn, much less so on a commercial level, but like on an industrial level, like Mexico is a global player. Obviously, aguacate, avocado. But I think what I was saying is that it's one of the origin points of agriculture, right? So I think what it's leading in, what it's becoming, like a lot of international both organizations and businesses are looking at Mexico now with from the perspective of Mexico has a ton of land in that tropical latitude. So there's as compared to other, and it is in the process of degradation, as we know, like deforestation, urbanization, agriculture, like all these things. So a lot of international organizations are looking at Mexico as a really important both region and country in the tropics, where there's Mexico is one of, I think it's number 5 biodiverse country in the world. So there are funds that are coming into Mexico looking at, okay, in this era of climate change, when so much is changing ecologically, the tropics is a big focus point, and also, the tropical Asia as well is a big focus point in terms of the genetics that are in that area of biodiversity and the possibilities of the forest to regenerate. Because what happens with heat is that things grow slower in the cold, is one way to think of it. So you go more north and you go more south, and it's just you don't have that. You just have it takes longer for forests to be established. And
like we had a guest here. We had a guest here the other day. Our friend from Singapore. He works for like Enterprise Singapore, and he actually told us that Mexico supplies quite a few different vegetables to Singapore. So I feel like, wow, so far.
That's so far, right? Yeah.
And yet Mexico is still like the supplier for those vegetables. So it's now I understand.
So crazy. It's so crazy. Like if you look at a map of international agriculture and industrial agriculture, it's like Mexico produces several things and send it all over the world. Like other countries produce specialized product and send it here. And when you look at the amount of petroleum, refrigeration, carbon footprint that costs, that is one of the big reasons why we need to start regional regenerative agriculture. That's local food systems. Because it's insane that we're sending food all over the world, and also like if you look at a lot of these foods that we eat, they need to be in constant refrigeration from the time that they're harvested until they're like delivered to a supermarket in Singapore, because people want to buy big shiny fruits, and like we've been trained to look for certain things that are not necessarily in our best interest as consumers. We've been trained to look for a visual which does not correspond with the nutrient capacity of something, or even like the health of that plant that it comes from. So I think whatever you call it, if it's regenerative agriculture, if it's permaculture, if it's whatever terminology, because it's a big universe of different techniques. I think the fundamental idea is that we are through whatever through our food system, that we can produce that on a local level, and also produce that in a way that gives back instead of just taking. So Singapore is such a cool urban ag scene too. Did you guys were you involved at all in that while you were there?
I think by default, because the the founding father, or the founding political party in Singapore, kind of I would say they kind of had the vision to turn Singapore into a garden city. And
and then like just before we left, actually there was sorry, what did they call that, the garden, the
Gardens by the Bay.
Gardens by the Bay, like it's
beautiful.
We only had like botanical gardens before that, and then after Gardens by the Bay was like just this massive, like incredible looking,
with like specimens of plants from all over the world and stuff like that.
I mean, Singapore wants to be really green, like so it like we have, but every tree is specifically planted. Nothing is natural.
But it was like a long-term thing, like someone actually like, okay, so the airport is over here and the city is here, let's have trees all the way. Someone actually planned this, and was like a long-term
thing.
I think that is something really interesting, that I'm sure you want people to kind of also have in their framework. I know we only got like less than 5 minutes.
So we have less than 5 minutes left, Lily. I would really like to hear what else, like maybe some last like things that you might want to say to the audience.
But before you do that, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming to the end of this show. Really, really interesting and exciting. And we're talking about regenerative agriculture, and we're gonna do a part 2. Definitely, to tell you guys more about this, where we can talk more about Phoenix Farms and Lily Foster. Go ahead, Lily.
Thank you guys so much for inviting me on. Our time went fast because we're talking those like huge subjects that we're talking about. But I would love to invite anyone that would like to connect with Phoenix Farms, to write us on Instagram, by email, check out the events. We also have really beautiful spaces that we rent. So if you're interested in doing a show, doing a presentation of your product, your company, your service, we have a beautiful infrastructure here in Roma Norte, and we do grow a ton of food, and also it's a very multi-purpose space. So write us about that, and we would love to keep working with other different projects, or also if you're already working in agriculture and there's something that, or if you're a developer, I really think that there's so many different fields that cross with agriculture and with food and with creating community in these other spaces. So it's a really exciting time to be here in the city, and I find it incredibly, as someone who's lived here for 15 years, I find it really invigorating to meet all the people that are coming from such different backgrounds, such different places. I also have a lot of Mexican friends that were outside of the country for 10 years, 15 years in Europe or in the States, and they've come back to Mexico during the pandemic. So it's like, I think beyond nationalities, there's a really cool global community that's here. And we're happy to be part of that and support. And I hope you guys can come to the garden soon. And congratulations on your show.
Yes,
thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much,
Lily. Like,
happy.
Really a pleasure. Such good vibes talking to you.
So, like,
we have to end the show now. But we definitely see you again.
See you again.
Awesome.
Talk to you soon.
Talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much. Ciao. Bye.
Bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Phoenix Farms. You can check them out on the Instagram page at Phoenix Farms, Phoenix with an F.
FENIX,
FENIX.
right there. And so thank you so much for joining us here on That Front Show, ADR Networks. My name is Celestine Angel.
My name is Isaac Rakesh.
And
Activating your senses.
Peace out. Thank you to all who joined us here on That Foreign Show. It's been awesome. I'm Celestine Angel.
And I'm Isaac Crouch, and we'll see you next Friday. Have a great weekend, y'all.
Entrando por tus oídos hasta llegar al centro de tus emociones, ADR Networks está en este momento
activando tus sentidos.
That foreign show.